Put on your boots and parachute, shoots. We're going up, we're coming down. Put on your boots. We're all American and proud to be boots and parachutes. Oh, we're the soldiers of liberty. Shoots. We're going some ride their gliders to the enemy. We're coming out of the sky, parachuters. Put on your boots. We're all American and fight. We will boots and parachutes till all the guns of the force still. Get ready! Airborne from skies of blue. Stand in the door. We're coming through. Make your jumps and take your bumps today. Let's go. Put on your boots, your jumping boots, your parachutes. Get all those gliders ready to attack today. Look up, for we'll be gone. For rigor check into the dawn. And station time to fight them all. The 82nd wing. Hey, hey! Put on your boots and parachutes, shoot. We're going up, we're coming down. Put on your boots. We're all American and proud to be boots and parachutes. Oh, we're the soldiers of liberty. Shoots. We're going some ride their gliders to the enemy. We're coming out of the sky, parachuters. Put on your boots. We're all American and fight. We will boots and parachutes till all the guns of the force still. Get ready! Airborne from skies of blue. Stand in the door. We're coming through. Make your jumps and take your bumps today. Let's go.
Everybody knows probably the most amazing man that they've ever met. So at this time, we're going to do a little bit of a formal portion. We're going to play a tribute video. And then we're going to allow people to come up and say a few words, okay? And I know a lot of those words are hard to say. I'll tell you, I was interviewed by KVIA earlier, and they told me if I could say one word that encompassed Bob Chisolm. And talk about a difficulty. How do you pick one word to encompass a man that is so great? And one word did come to my mind, and that was legend, okay? Colonel Bob, as we all know, was a legend, okay? And his legendary status is going to continue to be here at this chapter. He'll be known to all of us for the rest of our lives. We'll never forget him, and he will always be a part of us. And when I think about what a legend is, I think about heroism. And we all know about his combat heroism, his dedication to his brothers in arms. I was a paratrooper for a very long time, 17 years. And when I hear the story about when Colonel Bob was wounded in Normandy, and he goes back and jumps in the market garden with a metal plate in his head, it blows me away. I don't see how somebody can continue to do that, but that's who he was. That's what embodied. That was the character of Colonel Bob Chisolm as a hero and as a warrior. You know, when I finished my career, just under 30 years of active military service, I remember listening to soldiers telling me that they couldn't deploy because their knee was sore. They had a sore knee, so they couldn't deploy downrange with me. And just to tell them, hey, I know somebody who jumped out of an airplane in the combat in a foreign country with a metal plate in their head. Maybe I should introduce you to them, and you can get some intestinal fortitude, to do what this country needs you to do, and that's to deploy because you volunteered to do it, right? But that was a sergeant major to be coming out. So heroism, the selfless service that goes with legendary status. Selfless service. Colonel Bob, I was told a story from a gentleman who used to be homeless, and he used to hang out here in front of the chapter, and in front of the and he said that I'm being picked on by some teenagers down the street, and Colonel Bob said, get in the car, and he puts them in the car, and he drives them down, right, to where those teenagers are at, points them out. Colonel Bob says, stay right here, gets out of the car, goes over there, has some words with those teenagers, comes back and says, they'll never mess with you again. It comes back. Who does that? Who does that? I personally would have been like, man, that sucks. You know, hope you don't get picked on anymore. You know, bad news. You know, but to have that fortitude to say, let's deal with this now. That's a special, you know, person. That's selfless service that goes above and beyond anybody's expectations of a human being. It's amazing. His compassion for the veterans, for the airborne troopers, for his own community, for his family. You know, just an amazing man who continued to always be there for anybody whenever they asked. So, one word, legend, and then what encompasses and what makes a legend. And that's probably the best thing that I can say about Colonel Bob. Other than I wish I would have had more time to be his friend and to learn from him. And hopefully one day, you know, all of us could aspire to be like him. He's a model citizen, and what a great person. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and we're going to play a tribute video that you can see over here on the wall.
Regrets not being able to attend in person, but it's fitting that I'm sitting here near Chicago in front of a James Deeds 1999 Wrath of the Red Devils parade. It depicts First Sergeant Leonard Funk and 3 of his men courageously charging across flight lines and clearing the landing zones just before gliders arrived from England on day 2 of Operation Market Garden in Eastern Holland.
Being in my background and how I served, I always tried to be worthy of these guys. And the thing that impresses me with men like Bob Chisolm, and there's some still with us, thank God, that were in World War II, Korea and Vietnam, they say nobody's irreplaceable. Wrong. That generation of soldiers is irreplaceable. Not that soldiers since then have not performed as valiantly, but that generation was united. And men like Bob Chisolm, I just have to try to live my life, what I have left of it, and try to be honored, to do honor to somebody like him. And I'm just feel very privileged that he called me a friend. Thank you.
Howdy. I'm Andrew Oakland. I'm a Limey originally, American now. I've lived in this neighborhood over 40 years. I used to be China Boy's neighbor. I think that's how I started coming here, dropping in occasionally. I was briefly in an outfit called the Robin Hood Rifles back home. Otherwise, I'm a civilian. I'm a nurse, and that's what brought me to town when Sierra imported me this hospital in Central. And of course, I met Bob coming here, and his outfit, the World War II outfit, the 508th, were stationed probably for you know the local neighborhood here as close as Memorial Park. It's a big 250 acre park. That's the city has it now with a fancy, mostly he called it a castle, but it's Woollerton Park. And they have these grounds and deer, and 508 were there in the months before D-Day. And I had heard of that as a child. I grew up, real close to that area. So And then the 507th, by the way, were the other side of the River Trent, which flows through Nottingham. My mother remembers the Americans, very exotic. I've been wanting to be here since I was a kid, and I've been lucky. And of course, Bob had the greatest memories of Nottingham, and I know that I shared a few stories with him and about friends. On my father's side, we were French, so my grandfather was a World War I British soldier, married a French lady, and they grew there. So we sure appreciated the liberation of Europe, and starting in '44 with that jump on the morning. 3 a.m. First boots on the ground almost, apart from the Pathfinders, were Bob's. And we've seen the film. I'd seen The Longest Day as a young teenager, and there's that scene where there's one of the paratroopers is caught on the church steeple. And Bob says, "Oh yeah, that was," and I forgot the name now, but he knew the guy. He survived. He was just wounded in the ankle, and anyway, I probably talked long enough, and that's my little story. So it's really been a great honor to be here with you all, and now American, etc. And I love this area, El Paso, and the food, fabulous. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Airborne paratroopers. Bob has been a great friend in my life. People try to say, well, he's older than you. But honestly, I was a young ROTC cadet. I was in the 82nd Airborne Division, NCO, and Bob always stood behind me and always helped me because he loved paratroopers. I was even telling myself that Bob should be called the man of the 82nd, because he is. He always cared about 82nd Paratrooper. So I'm not going to talk about anything about me anymore. I'm just going to sing a song for Bob. Because I don't know if you all know, but I was a member of the 82nd Airborne Division All-American Chorus. And Bob knew that. That's amazing that you say that. Because All-American Chorus members don't feel that way, because we don't get to fight with our brothers. We advocate for the airborne, and that's why I'm here right now, to advocate for the airborne. And it's a Irish ballad, and it was sung for a son's lament. It's called Danny Boy, but I'm changing it to Bobby Boy. Oh, Bobby boy, the pipes are calling. From glen to glen, across the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. Well, it's you must go and I must bide. But come ye back with summer o'er the meadow, or in the valley hush and white with snow. And I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Bobby boy, oh, Bobby boy, we love you so. Airborne all the way.
Wow. Amazing, thank you. Anybody else? Please come on up.
I'm Jesus Bravo, and I've been here for the last, 15, almost 20 years. I met Bob here by occasion. I came here under the arm of Angel Romero. He's the one that guided me here. And I walked in here and I looked at everybody, and first person I met was Bob. And then he showed me around, he talked to me, and then we sat down, and then I told him, Bob, it's nice knowing you. I don't really feel like I need to, I don't need to have any contacts with veterans. I was, how can you say that? I didn't want nothing to do with veterans. I had a bad rep with them. I worked with, at White Sands with basically veterans from Korea. And they used to badmouth us, they said that we had lost the war, this and that, so, that kind of sinks to you, so, that kind of shies you away from, doing anything like that. So, he told me, no, that we're different, we're different here, we greet each and every one here. So, that went on like that, and years after years, we got to be real good friends, and I remember one time, he asked me, Bravo, I understand you served 2 tours over there. And he went, yeah, Bob. And he asked me, didn't you have enough with the first one? I said, well, yes and no. I needed to go back. I don't know why, but I needed to go back. And he tells me, well, you're like me, we're slow learners, We just don't learn the first time, so, don't feel bad, So I said, no, I just laughed, and then he tells me, okay, but let me tell you my story. When I jumped in Normandy, I landed, there was nobody around, and I'm walking and walking. He come to a road, and he sat there for a while, and he heard a motorcycle coming through, and then he realized, wait a minute, we don't have any motorcycles, So he heard it coming his way. So when he got close enough, he took them both down. He had 2 riders on the motorcycle, and he took them down. He commandeered the motorcycle, and then he rode on it. About 5 minutes later, he said, you know what? I better get off this damn thing, because if I shot those guys, somebody's going to shoot me too, because they know that we don't have any motorcycles, So he said, I just started walking more until I ran into a lot of groups of other bird troopers. And that was his first story. And he asked me, what about yours? I said, Bob, when I got in country, I was just a Me-Too. They told me not to say nothing, not to ask nothing. You just do what you're told. So, okay, that went on like that. I got assigned to 101st. And when we got there, I was assigned to the E5, and him and I, we didn't see eye to eye anyway, so, and the very first night, we were out near the Hobo Woods, and I walked by and I heard him talking to the lieutenant. Hey, I got a boy out there that I need to put a point. And well, he didn't say boy, Let me tell you what he said. He said, I got a wetback out there, I need to put a point. So, I heard it, and there was nobody else, that was the only Mexican there, And so, next day, he took away my M16, gave me a shotgun, and he put me a point. And then I told him, he asked me, are you sure you can do it? Are you scared? No, I'll go ahead and do it, if that's what you want. But I told him, you know what, I never shot a shotgun before. He says, don't worry about it, just walk out there, just say, why would you want me on point? He says, well, I'd rather for you to get killed or wounded so you won't suffer the rest of the year. And I told him, you know what, I didn't come here to die, that was my response to him. So needless to say, the very first day, I'm walking point, maybe about 75 meters in front of the platoon, and like I was walking like if I was in downtown El Paso, I was looking at the birds and the leaves and the jungle. I never seen that before, you know. I come from El Paso, you know, it's not green over there. So I'm enjoying the scenery, and then I see somebody cross my path. And I stopped, you know, and then I realized, you know, I'm looking, and then all of a sudden that figure came back on the trail, and he opened up with his, I don't know if it was an AK or something. I just heard that clack, clack, clack go off, you know. So you know, I just felt the leaves falling on me, and the rocks. He didn't hit me, you know, for the grace of God, you know, he missed. He was from here to where the end of the fence is at, you know. And so I got kind of, kind of mad, you know. I said, what the heck's going on, you know? How come he did that to me, you know? So I aimed my shotgun and I fired into the bush that he went in, you know. So I went further north, keep going, and then I found a blood trail, and I followed the blood trail for about 100 yards. And I could hear him asking for me, you know, the guys up ahead, hey, funny man, where are you at, you know? So I finally get to the guy that I hit, and well, he's already passing out, you know. I hit him in the neck, you know, and he's already expired, you know. And here comes the lieutenant and the E5, you know, and then so my lieutenant says, why did you shoot the guy? I said, well, you know, we didn't have time to talk, you know. He shot at me, so I returned the fire, you know. I didn't have nothing else to do, you know. And then, well, that went like that, you know. And then, you know, for 3 weeks, I walked point for those, you know. And then I got transferred to the 173rd. And then Bob says, well, you know, that was a good unit. And well, did you ever tell him that you never got killed? I said, no, Bob, I've never ran to that E5 or then lieutenant again, you know, luckily. You know. So, you know, then he tells me, okay, now I know why you despise the little hat, you know, the 101st, you know, they got the little eagle. I call those people, you know, the little chicken. So, you know, to me, the 101st, you know, it's a good unit, but for me, it was a bad unit, you know. So, you know, I was always attached to the 173rd, that was my combat unit, and I really liked it. So, but, you know, Bob was the type of person that, you know, he would take you under the arm. I was glad to go. Here a couple of years ago, he invited me to go to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That was the first time I had been there in 50 years. And I met up with Bob, Rock, married, there's his daughter, and I had breakfast with him, and that was my thrill of my life. They sat there, and I didn't eat breakfast because I was hearing their war stories. It was like going back in history. They both spoke and spoke and spoke, you know, and I'm trying to observe all this information they were giving out, you know. I never heard such two persons, you know, that were veterans, combat veterans, you know, speaking about their experiences, you know. And I said, wow, everything is worthwhile, you know, coming over here, you know. So I enjoyed those number of days that we spent over there with Rock and Bob, you know. I heard so many stories. So every morning I wake up, I go to Bob and we go breakfast and I hear some more war stories. So that was my thrill, you know, that was one of my highlights in life. Let me tell you a story that Angel told me about Bob, okay? This is the man that you guys saw on the video. They said that they were in the Battle of the Bulge, and they were dug in, and in front of Bob, there was a Tiger tank coming at him. Angel said that Bob got up with a bazooka, aimed at the tank. He fired at the tank, he disabled the tank, and gingerly walked back to the foxhole and resumed his defense. That's how that man was, you know. He never, I don't know if you ever heard about that, you know, but you don't see guys like that, you know, you don't, unless you hear it from somebody else. He never spoke about that. And I asked Bob, did that happen to you? And I say, well, I think Angel, you know, kind of stretch out the story a little bit, you know. But that was Bob, you know. He was true American patriot, and a great friend. Thank you.
I am standing up. Good afternoon. Airborne. I've only known Colonel Chisolm, believe this or not, for less than a year. Let me tell you the story on how I got to know this great patriot, the legend. For years, I've been going to Normandy, France, around D-Day, June the 6th, to explore the battle sites and relive the history and discover the history and go digging for the history with a historical society that I belong to. Last year, a couple of days after D-Day celebration, we had a group of French reenactors. They were reenactors, French Free Forces, that gathered with a couple of us Americans at the La Fère Manor, and that, of course, is where that famous battle for that bridge occurred. And we were enjoying each other's company, and also we were reminiscing about what happened in this building and on that bridge just meters away. When one of the French reenactors came to me, who happens to be a paratrooper in the French Army and a medic, and he said, a sergeant, oh, by the way, I didn't say who I am, I'm sorry. I'm retired First Sergeant Flores, 82nd Airborne, 508th, and the 3rd 325th, who took that bridge, by the way. I mean, I wasn't there, but my unit was. So this French reenactor asked me, can you help me identify something? And I said, well, what is it? So he took out of his kit bag a sheath for a paratrooper's knife. And he had a paratrooper knife in it. And he said, can you somehow authenticate if this is real or not? He had purchased it from an antique store. And I said, well, let me look at it. And the first thing I noticed, because I did this myself, as most paratroopers did, when they had their paratrooper knife, they took the Army issue scabbard, the sheath, threw it away and got a leather one, either handmade or bought downtown in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, because it was soft. And so he showed me the sheath, and I knew right off the bat that it probably was authentic, because that's what we all did, and they did that too during World War II. And then I looked a little closer, and I noticed a name and a service number. Now the service number was too badly worn out, but the name was pretty pronounced. It said Robert E. Chisolm. And I thought, whoa, is this real or not? So I'm not an antique expert, especially not in military hardware. And so I had a bright idea, and I said, well, why don't we Google it and see if there was a Robert E. Chisolm? And maybe we can get one step closer to identifying this sheath. And the knife was not his. They said he bought that knife separately, but it was from that vintage World War II. So that evening, I got on the internet, and we're all there together, and they're watching me type in that name, and voila, immediately popped up an article the El Paso Times had done on him on the 75th anniversary of D-Day some years ago, because this all happened last year in June. And it had his picture. We saw that picture there where he's holding his picture from when he was a private. And so I said, wow, I think maybe we've got something here. You've got something here. And he said, well, can we authenticate it more? And I said, well, let's go on the internet and go to the white pages, type his name in, and who knows, maybe he's alive and he's got a phone number. I did that, and lo and behold, his name pops up, and where he lives and the address. And I said, wow, let's call him. And so I had to figure real quick the hours difference, you know, in the Mountain Time and French time, and it was like in the afternoon. And so I dialed that phone number. Colonel Chisolm, Bob answered the phone. Hello, and I said, I'm calling from Normandy, France. Don't hang up. I'm retired First Sergeant, 82nd Airborne. I've got a question for you. And there was a little silence. And then he said, what's your question, First Sergeant? And I said, did you by any chance lose your paratrooper knife on D-Day? There was silence. Now, if he would have said no, then this thing was a fake. If he would have said yes, wow, again. He said, yes, I did. I lost it. And anyway, so the long story short, I said, we've got your sheath. And he says, really? And they explained to him how we found it and who had it. And we asked if he'd like it back, and they said no, maybe we could give it to a museum. And long story short, the young French reenactor goes to schools and tells a story about World War II and how the United States, the 82nd Airborne, the 101st, and the rest of the American troops are French, and the British and the Canadians liberated their country. And so he wanted him to have that so that he has something authentic from a real soldier that really was there and liberated his country, their country. And so that was the beginning of a little friendship, not very long, but I'm blessed to have known him the time I've had. We've talked to him a number of times on the phone, and we did a little video conferencing on Zoom in September, and he told us stories about his war in World War World War II, and we have it on Zoom. Today was only the second time that I've been at a military funeral, and I really am glad that I could come down from Nebraska to be with all of you. I feel blessed to have known and know the family of Robert Chisolm, and his legacy will continue. And I am going again because I go every year. Been going for the last 6 years, not 2020, but that's the COVID year. And going back and exploring some more, and who knows, maybe we'll find his knife. Thank you for hearing this story, and
It's an amazing story. Anybody else like to come up and say a few words?
I think China Boy's still here.
China Boy's still here. Strangely being quiet though. There we go.
My name is Mario Collazo. I don't need a microphone because I got a voice that speaks by itself. Anyway, I am honored while I'm here at this chapter, how I was brought here. I'm very honored with these colors. In the first place, I'm not a veteran. I'm a support group for veterans of foreign wars. I came here back in the 2010, almost 10 years ago. And I was honored to be with a chapter as a mascot. I work with them on their Veterans Day, on their events, and to me, that's an honor. These colors to me mean a lot. I work with other chapters that don't take me into consideration. It's okay. It's okay. My job is to supply my voice here, my chapters. This is my chapter. With that in hand, I'd like to thank my godfather, Rick. He was one that brought me in, besides Leo Enriquez, the Indian. Good people, good people. But I am honored to be part of this organization, and I will still support them. I will do what I can do for them, today, tomorrow, or in the future. Thank you.
Continue to stay here, enjoy yourselves. Thanks for coming out, and thank you so much for hosting this wake here, okay? All right, so with that, I guess we can turn the music on and go get yourself a drink.